Hi everyone, my name is Vishwa and you are watching Facts No Printer, a show where we talk about all fun things about fun things. The fun... Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Vishwa and you are watching Facts No Printer. In this episode, we will talk about oobleck and use it to learn a little more about non-Newtonian fluids as a whole. Some of you may be wondering, what the heck is even oobleck? That rhymed. It sounds interesting for sure, but before I explain what it is, let's talk about the origin of the word oobleck. It actually comes from the book Bartholomew and the Oobleck by Dr. Seuss. In this book, a gooey substance called oobleck falls from the sky, which was later on used for the name of this mixture of cornstarch and water. Oobleck is a non-Newtonian fluid, the opposite of Newtonian fluids like water. Non-Newtonian fluids means its viscosity or flow behavior changes under various conditions, such as the force that's put onto it. It can be liquid sometimes to even solid. Oobleck is a great example of this, a non-Newtonian fluid made up of only two ingredients, cornstarch and water, which I will now mix up to demonstrate for you. So typically the ratio is 2 parts cornstarch to 1 part water. And let's just get started. So I'm quite bad at math, so I'm just gonna be estimating this. I think this should be enough for our purposes. I'll just add more, just in case. Whoops. Okay, I'm not destroying the set, guys. Okay, and I guess just a little bit of water. Cool. And if you add more water, then you can just always add more cornstarch to just balance it out. You'll just end up with more oobleck, which is not a bad thing. Okay. So when you start mixing up with your fingers or your mixing tool, which I did not use for this purpose, you'll start to notice that it becomes oobleck when you start mixing it and it becomes kind of hard. And that's soft right now. But if you apply a lot of pressure to it, this is fun, okay guys? Okay, I think this requires a bit more cornstarch because I'm applying a lot of pressure to it, but it's still not really forming into a ball. Okay, this is good. So you know it's turning into oobleck when you're running your fingers through it and it's just tearing up and it's hard to move through. This is when you're adding so much pressure to it that it turns into the solid part of a non-Newtonian fluid. And here's the cool part. So this is when it's sort of solid. It's because I'm applying a lot of force to it. And look what happens. Super cool. See how it's kind of a ball right now? But what happens when I stop? Cool. Okay, this is gonna take a while. It kind of looks like icing, and it is edible technically, but let's not eat it. Cool, that's how you make oobleck at home. Only cornstarch and water, super easy. And let's get back to our regular programming. And I'll put this away or else I'll be very distracted. Well, what happened and why? Well, in oobleck, the main solid is cornstarch and it's made up of, starch, which are small particles that are suspended in the water when mixed together. This is key as usually when mixed together with water, other particles tend to dissolve. So if the mixture is moved slowly, the particles slide past each other. But when moved quickly, the particles lock in with each other and the particles entangle. This is known as shear thickening behavior. This is why when you walk on it, punch it, or just roll it into a ball, it becomes solid. But when you leave it alone or slowly run your fingers through it, it stays as a liquid. So the behavior of the oobleck is dependent on the pressure applied to it. It's important to note that the density of the mixture is influenced by how much cornstarch there is in it. So if there's a 1.5 cornstarch to 1 water ratio versus 2 cornstarch to 1 water ratio, the 1.5 mixture will take more pressure and force to turn it into a solid, rather than the 2 mixture. I love oobleck a lot, as you just saw, and I think you could just tell based on how happy I am just talking about it. It was a big part of my childhood where I constantly begged my parents to buy me huge packs of cornstarch, which we otherwise had no use for as we didn't use it for cooking or baking in the traditional sense. Just cooking oobleck. And I did and still do to this day make a very big mess, which I thankfully did not today. But if you played with oobleck before, you may understand that as well. But going back to the topic at hand, oobleck is so fun, and you can even make it more fun with adding various colors as well. It's a great quote-unquote toy for people of all ages, but it has also been used in material research by actual scientists. Yes, oobleck and its properties has helped material scientists to explore other non-Newtonian fluids that they can use for applications in areas such as protective gear or impact-resistant materials. Plus, it's biodegradable and safe for the environment, which is an added bonus. And that is a great note to end this episode off with. I hope you learned something new about either oobleck or non-Newtonian fluids. And take this episode as a sign to make oobleck for yourself. Come on, it's only 2 ingredients and super easy. But anyway, see you next time on another episode of Facts No Printer. Thank you for watching. Bye.